FIFA 23 has changed massively over the recent patch, with players trying to decide what is the best formation, the best custom tactics, and everything to run on game because of the massive changes that we've been having. Well, today we're going to talk to you about one of my favorite formations, the 4-3-2-1. It has been, for me, one of the staples over the years. I absolutely love it. It's so effective. Reason being, what I like it for, to be honest, before we jump into the tactics, is purely the fact that you have the fullbacks available on the overlap coming out on that right-hand side and left-hand side, but mainly the fact that you have triangles. And what do I mean by that? It's very simple for you to, say, lay the ball into your right attacking mid, to then go into that center attacking mid and then into your right defensive mid and send that right attacking mid on that run to go over the top. You can do this with those three players there that we've just mentioned. You can do it with your striker and your attacking mid and your left attacking mid, whatever it may be. That is one of the reasons why I absolutely love this formation. But along with that, you also have your two center defensive mids, which at the minute, the way the game is played and the way that people are breaking away from the opponent so easily, a more safe and sound formation, which the 4-2-3-1 is definitely one of them. It allows you to defend a little bit easier and a little bit better. So if you are struggling with defending, then this is going to be the one for you. Now, what are we running in terms of our defensive style? Now, I spoke about this quite a lot recently, that you can happily run the press on possession loss, press on heavy touch if you want to, and if you have 5 substitutes that are very good and effective. For most players right now, you're going to do better running on balanced, and the simple reason for that is that you don't want to take an unnecessary risk, because the way that explosive players and control players are breaking away nowadays, you are going to get hurt if you don't win that ball in that press. So for the majority of you, balanced is going to be your best friend. Now, when it comes to our defensive width, what does this actually do? This is when we don't have the ball, how does our defensive width line up? Now, because the controlled and explosive players are pretty effective right now, you don't want to give up the wings too easily. Try and stop the ball from getting into this area, into that byline area right there, because that is super strong for that cutback and effective for the opponent to use. So we used to run 40. That kind of used to be our go-to, because I was kind of happy to give up this area a little bit more. Right now, though, I'm a little bit more skeptical. So we actually run 47 width. No particular reason why 47, but it's a little bit more wider. It's a little bit more having that left back just out ever so slightly and that right back out ever so slightly, but just try and stop the opponent in the tracks and stop them from getting into the byline altogether. Now, depth, we used to run 71 depth, didn't we? That was what we wanted to do, to have that automatic offside trap. But for you at home, you're looking at that and going, yeah, but Al, what this does is it makes this defensive line sit a lot higher when the opponent has the ball. Remember, it has no impact when you have the ball. Your defensive line will always sit on the halfway line here when you have the ball. When you don't have the ball, it's about trying to hold that line a little bit higher. And this is where it can get a little bit difficult. With 71 depth, your team will automatically step up on occasions. You'll notice this mainly when your defensive line is kind of in and around your 18-yard box and the opponent has the ball in and around here. That's where your defensive line will occasionally step up on its own accord. That used to be really good. For a lot of you, and for me myself, the problem that you have with that is that you don't have the recovery of like Van Dijk as much anymore, because those explosive and control players break away so much more. So you might say, all right, I want to have that 60 depth to still hold a high line, because I don't want the over-the-top through balls to be too easy. Because remember, if you run a higher line, the gap between this midfield and defenders is less. But if you run a really deep line, you'll have it a lot higher, right? As a general rule of thumb, there'll be more space in between, which you don't always want. You don't always put too much pressure on. So I'd say about 60 is about right. If you're on old gen and you're thinking none of this applies to me because we don't have the accelerate system, feel free to run, 50 depth as kind of as a general rule of thumb. All right, but 60 is where I would go and be pretty happy with. Now, build-up play. It's been interesting recently with regards to how the patch has changed everything. Fast build-up is something that I normally tend to run in like a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, something like that. I've been testing it in the 4-2-3-1 recently, because the 4-2-3-1 can be like used as a slow build up possession style of formation, but it can also be really good to hit on the counter attack. And that's something that we look to do here in this 4-2-3-1. We want to move our players up the pitch. Now, what will this actually do, right? You win the ball here in defense. It's saying to all of your players, get up that pitch. These are my attempt at arrows. Get up that pitch and get forward. Get into the middle of the pitch and then into the final third. That's what it is encouraging. When it comes to chance creation, this is all about in the final third here. It's all about when you get into the opponent's 18-yard box, in and around that sort of area. We used to run direct passing. We used to run forward runs. I've actually changed the balance here. The reason for this is I want to manually encourage me to have the movement. I want my 4-2-3-1 to work in the ways that it can do, where we can look in behind, we can go short, we can still look for the outside the box shots, we can drive the byline, we can do so many things. Now, the way that the 4-2-3-1 is going to set up for us is that basically we want our left attacking mid and right attacking mid to be driving the byline in towards that 18-yard box and trying to get into this area here, right? We're going to run all the way down and we're going to do the typical swept back across. That's what we're looking for when we're running in behind. However, if we can get them to go for a finesse shot from range, we'll try it. If you have players with the outside the boot trait, you can still go for the Travella shot as well from angles like there if you wanted to. But that's why I go chance creation. I don't want them always running in behind. I don't want them always coming short. I just want balance to have the best of everything. Now, width. We normally have been running a narrow width recently because I like to play in between the fullbacks and the centre half. But the problem that, well, not the problem, but one of the great things that you can do at the minute is you can run down the line. You can run down the line and you can sprint past fullbacks. Kyle Walker isn't as much of an issue. So if you, when you get this ball, if you say, right, yeah, I want to take that man on and I want to go with Rashford wide, keeping, you know, in towards the pitch, you can do that. And that's why we run 57 width. So it's not too wide, but it's certainly a little bit wider than what I've been running recently. For our players in box, we are going to go 6, and then we are going to go 3 corners as well. Players in box, the reason why we have this on 6 is predominantly we want people getting into that 18-yard box as and when the chances arrive. Because we're going to run down the line a lot and look for that cutback, the more men that you have available there, the better. You also have players on the edge, though, obviously, if you want to look for that long-range shot. If you want to elevate your FIFA game and take it to that next level, you can get one-to-one coaching, squad reviews, and access to multiple videos to help you get better at FIFA. You can join our Patreon page starting from £4 per month. A link is in the description. Now, time for our player instructions. For the striker, we are going to go stay forward, just completely balanced on there. Arnautovic is still okay, struggles a little bit more, obviously, now that the changes have come through. For our attacking mids, I've been playing with them all on stay forward only because I find the breakaway to be so effective and to sprint away from the opponent's defense. However, for most people, if you want to run just balanced here, this will be fine. I'd never advise come back on defense. It's too negative. If you wanted to see out the game, that's fine to do. But as a minute 1 tactic, I don't think that works too well. If you want to leave just your cam on stay forward, you could do. What I would say is just make sure that you manually pull these back to defend if you are going to have them on stay forward. That's what I tend to do to make it help for me. For our defensive-minded midfielder, cut passing lane, stay back while attacking, and cover centre. And then for your left centre mid, the more attacking CM, you're just going to have them on cover centre. I would advise you, though, don't be afraid to bring the centre defensive mids out towards the wing to help tag team, you know, if you need to, because obviously the wings is where a lot of people are using the ball right now. Stay back while attacking on both fullbacks. I normally run balanced fullbacks, but it's very aggressive, and the problem that you have is the way that the game is played at the minute, it's a little bit crazy. You just can't seem to do it. So I just run stay back there, and I manually get them involved. So those are our custom tactics for the 4-2-3-1. Give it a go, give it a try. Let me know how you find it down below in the comments. And if you do want to catch up with any of our latest tactics videos, you can click the one that's on the screen next to me here, and you can catch up with them as well.